Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Snapshots
Hey,
and Stories. We've been off for a couple of weeks. Summer happens, stuff happens, people get busy like everybody else out there, and so now we have somehow recruited ourselves away from the craziness that is life, and here we are. We're back.
August was crazy. So busy. You were busy with so many different projects.
It's yeah, it is busy, and I think September I'll probably go into these withdrawals. I'll be going like, oh, what am I going to do with myself?
Don't say that. I have a feeling your time is going to fill up really fast with your new studio that's been opened up, and I
Yeah,
think it's going to be a busy fall for you. I think.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about what do we carry with us when we go on a shoot, whether it's shooting for ourselves for pleasure, or whether it's out actually doing a commercial thing, or a paid gig, if you will. What do you bring? And we've already talked a bit about preparation. So some of us carry two bags, no matter where we go, because we don't know what we're going to do. But the majority, I would dare say, carry one. And in that one bag, if you could have your druthers, what would you have in your bag? So, Kate, I'm going to let you kind of start with what it is that you might carry. Or, you know what? Before we do that, I just thought about this. Me? No, no, yeah. Let's talk about what you carry in your bag. Let's just do that. Sorry.
Okay, sure. No, it's fine. Yeah, you're so right about the two bag. The only time I would take two bags and all of my gear if I was going to like a full day wedding.
Hmm.
Because you're inside, you need the wide angle, you need the macro for the detail shots, you need the portrait lenses, and just don't want to be at an event like that and you know be like, oh, I really wish I had brought that one lens I didn't pack. So
Yeah.
I personally am not going to talk about weddings. I just feel I put everything in the bag. I have two bags now that I carry, and I bring that to the wedding. But if I'm going out, say just some friends are going on a hike or something like that, I want to bring my small bag because my
Hmm.
big bag is just too much to bring with like maybe some other stuff you want to carry. So for me, I always put in my 35. So my 35 is, it can take maybe if I want to take pictures of people, I can do that. For me, it has served me well as getting the landscapes that I want and different types of things. It's lightweight too.
Hmm.
And the 35 millimeter that I have is 1.4. So it's got a nice depth of field to it too to kind of cover that. Um, so if I had to pick something, I would normally pick that. Um, and if I had to put something else in the bag, then yes, I would pick one of my wide angles. Um, just to have that kind of variety if I really needed it. But I really like the idea of just being like, I have one lens. I got my lens cap on, got a bag if I need it, but just strap it on and kind of go.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so that for me is kind of my go-to. I feel like my 50 millimeter is nice, and like we've talked about before, the 50 millimeter focal length is true to the human eye. That's kind of what the human eye is seeing.
Hmm.
But I do find if you want to take that chance and go out into nature, it's probably not going to be wide enough. So you'd
Yeah.
have to resign yourself to I'm taking 50 millimeter pictures, and that's just you'll just expect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a quick example here actually of somewhere local last year. So I went out, it was a beautiful fall night, beautiful sunset, and I just grabbed my 35 and went for a drive down to the river. And I was really lucky uh with what happened with the landscape colors. I'm just gonna share my screen here and show you.
Okay.
And some people might see this and say, "Oh, if I'd had my wide angle lens, it would have been better." But I'm pretty happy with what my 35 did get. And here we go. Can you see that yet, Paul?
Nope, not
Oh,
yet.
here we go. Oh wow, I did the wrong
Nope.
thing. Sorry, one
I
sec.
see all kinds
Yeah,
of
it says
things.
Plus Infinity. One sec,
You'll
sorry.
probably have to share an individual screen rather than the
I have it on widescreen right now, so
yeah, or a window, I guess.
sorry, bear with me. Anyways, so got really lucky. This uh, evening turned pink very fast, right on the water, and the water was like glass.
There
Can you
we
see
go.
that now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, so with that, I did feel like, oh, I really wanted something wide. So I just went as far back as I could to get to get what I wanted. And again, this was
Yep.
with the 35. And I like it. I like it. Maybe if it was a bit wider, we'd get kind of
Yeah.
more of the landscape in, but like I'm happy how that turned out.
But you know what?
I just love it.
If you did take a wider lens, what tends to happen with that is things become too small. They become too far away.
Right.
So I think
I
the lens that you
do,
chose,
yeah.
that you had with you at that point in time, based on the photograph, the way I'm seeing it, I think it's the probably the perfect focal length.
Thanks. I do like how the colored trees on I think people will see the same as me on the left hand side. Like they're big
Mm.
enough to kind of see the definition of the leaves and the different colors
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, yeah, super beautiful evening down on Lower Norton Shore Road.
Mhm.
Favorite place in the fall. And then let me see what else I got here for 35. Oh yeah, and so the same night, so lucky watching that pink sky kind of fade to gray, but then something else appeared to make it a little more different. And so I just flipped my
Oh,
35 into portrait orientation
nice.
and was super happy to get this rainbow.
It's
But
beautiful.
that being said though, I was not able to get the rainbow in if I flipped it over to landscape orientation, I could not get the full rainbow
No,
in the 35.
no.
So that would have been a good example of, oh, if I had actually had my 24 to 70,
Yeah.
I would have been able to get the full rainbow, but I did what I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah. But wow,
Beautiful
all
evening.
on the same trip.
All in the same, this
Now,
is in a matter of minutes.
so was this shot after or before the shot you showed me a moment ago?
It was after the rain. You know what?
Because it looks like you're getting further away if you didn't change your focal length.
I don't remember if it was before or after. I thought it was after. I think it was after because I feel like I took the pink one first and just thought, oh
Yeah.
wow, this is the best it's gonna get. And
Can you?
then the rainbow appeared, and you can see the gold tips on the
Yeah.
hills on either
Yeah.
side.
Well, yeah. That's a hole. That's a hole where there's some cloud breaking and the sun's actually breaking through there.
It was absolutely.
If you can,
Oh, can I?
you may not be
Mm,
able to. Oh, there you go.
Here we go. Here.
There you go.
Oops.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So what you're
Yeah.
seeing there is there's a break in the
Oh,
cloud
beautiful.
somewhere, and that's actually lighting up that tree line. So yeah, you got some nice stuff going on in that photo. Holy smokes!
Yeah, like look at and the mountains in the back. Just oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I've
yeah,
never seen Hampton look so beautiful as it did that night.
that is an amazing photo.
And
You know,
some may say too, if I had had my telephoto, I could have come right in on those mountains, right?
I was just going to say, if you
And
zoom
gotten
out just a
that.
little bit more, just a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, and now pull the picture to the. Oh, you're out too far. Zoom in a bit, and then pull the picture to the left. I guess that's your right.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess as far as it goes. Anyway, and then right there, I would zoom in just a little bit more because we know it's a rainbow. We know it's going to go up. It doesn't matter how high it goes. The fact is, you got the
Yes, that's
rainbow,
true.
you got that sun hole,
Yep.
and then you've also got the mountains.
Yep.
So
Yes.
at that crop, that's a really awesome story. That's wow, nice picture.
A beautiful night. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, so anyways, that's me out in nature with my 35. So
Yeah, yeah. So had you had a longer focal length,
so,
you could have brought all of that in nice and close. And because you brought it in all nice and close and you actually filled the frame with what we just showed in terms of what the crop would have been,
yes. Yep.
you could have come even closer into it if you wanted to because your resolution is going to be much higher because you're not trying to paint the picture so big that it will fall apart on you.
Yes.
So that's the advantage of having one or two of those lenses with you is that if you had a telephoto, you could have popped that on and got that same shot, but much closer. So, but anyway, that's a great
Yeah.
shot. Wow,
I'm
that
just gonna
excites
grab my
me.
plug really quick. My computer's about to die. One sec.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so, so, so typically when you're out on that kind of a thing, you're just taking one lens on the camera body and off you go.
Just depends like how light I want to go. Because for that night, I just wanted to grab something and just have it over my shoulder and just kind of
Yeah.
have the ease of that. So yeah, I don't know. Like for me, a lot of it is just kind of what's the lightest I can go and what am I trying to do uh on the trip? Like am I going for like a landscape, or am I just going with the mindset that like whatever I get, keep in mind I only have the 35 in my brain. I'm just looking for images that would be like good at 35.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a good choice for that particular part of the river. That was really nice. Um, what I want to show, I'm just gonna see if I can show this. Just hang on a second.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about what we keep in our bag and all that kind of stuff. But I want to just give an example of what the different types of lenses and stuff that are out there. So let me just see if I can make this happen. Number one, like I see me. There we go. All right, so we've got a bunch of lenses up on the screen now. So when people go out with what's in their bag, it can be a number of different things. Now, in Kate's situation, she shoots a lot of different things. Obviously, on the river, she shot the right lens for that particular setting. At the same time, if you were wanting to shoot wildlife in that very exact same setting, then that lens would
Mhm.
not have done you much
Yes, that's
good
so true.
unless the bird flew right in your face and you happen to get it.
Mhm.
But chances are you would never got the settings right quick enough because the bird would have been there and gone before you could even pick your camera up.
Yes.
So a wide angle or a zoom, a super zoom would have been a good choice. So what we're looking at here are a variety of lenses. So when you have lenses, or if you're going out to buy lenses, or if you have lenses and you want to take them with you, it's really important to decide what it is you're going to use them for, or what you're going to shoot, and then bring the proper tool. But if you're looking for different lenses, there's a number of different lenses out there. As you can see here, the choices are immense. So you can go from and the smallest lens they're showing here, or the widest, is a 24 millimeter, but you can go right down to an 8 millimeter fisheye if you want to, which is
Mhm.
really wide, and you can get some really cool looking things if you want to use it close up on people. That's where you see a lot of people use it for effects. But so from that distance, or focal length, right on up 300. But some of these lenses, they're going up to 1200 millimeters. So there's so many
Wow.
choices. So what do you do? Like, what do you buy? Do you buy a whole bunch of lenses and weigh your car down and put it in a different weight category and get charged higher taxes?
Right.
Or do you figure out what is the most common focal lengths I'm going to use for just about anything? And so
Mhm.
then again, by looking at these lenses, there's choices between prime lenses, and primes are just basically lenses that only have one focal length, which is what Kate had out in the boat with her, which was a 35 millimeter prime. So that means that she couldn't zoom in or zoom out. She just has to get closer or move back further to get that change in apparent vision or field of view. But prime lenses tend to be sharper and brighter just because, and that's why you can go to these 1.2 f ratios,
Mhm.
or 1.4s, 1.8s with those primes, because there's not a whole bunch of other glass in there that you got to deal with, and each time you go through a piece of glass, it's going to lessen your ability to open up that aperture
Right.
enough to be able to make that usable. So that's kind of what primes are for. So primes are one focal length, and you can get them in many different focal lengths. You can go from, an 8 millimeter right on up to 600, 1200 millimeter prime if you want. Pay a lot of money for it, but very, very nice. And then there are zoom lenses, and the zoom lenses would be like that kit lens that you get with your camera, which is kind of like that one I'm showing you here in the center. Not that one. Sorry, where's it at? Did they show one here? No, they don't show one here. But typically it would be an 18 to 55 right around that range. And that's usually what you get for a kit lens. So 18 is pretty wide. 55 is great for portraits and relatively close up things. So you get all that covered in a zoom. And then you can get into super zooms, which basically go from 100 millimeters and right on up to line, depending on whatever it is you want to go. So something like that 70 to 200 we're looking at here. This one here goes 55 to 250. This goes 70 to 300. I use a 100 to 500. And then you can put extenders on. So you can get all kinds of focal length you want.
Mm.
So that's the type of lenses that are out there. Now, let's make this make more sense. Let's go to the next photo. That's not it. Sorry. Hang on. Let me just get rid of this photo. There it is. So on this particular slide we're looking at now, we have all the different lenses that we talked about, but it shows you basically what you can use these for. So if you want to do landscape, in the case of what Kate did, you can use a 24 millimeter f2.8. She used a 35. A 16 to 35 will do a nice landscape. A 24 to 70, which is what I use most of the time for landscapes. And even a 70 to 200 does an absolutely wonderful job, depending on how far away. So if you're a long ways away from, say, a mountain range and you need to get up close, then you'd be glad that you got a 200 millimeter focal length. And plus, it's going to bring you up close and you still can get a nice landscape. Now, when you go to portraits, Kate, your favorite is either the 85 or the 50 for doing portrait work.
Yep.
Probably the
Yeah,
50, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that sometimes too, and then I put on my 85 and I realize that it's my favorite lens of all time. It's just so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
You can be
grenade, that
so
thing.
far away. Yeah.
So, but at the focal length, at 85, depending if you're inside, sometimes 85 can challenge you if you don't have a big room. So the 50 is really nice because you can always walk back and forth to make the adjustment. So for portraits, they're recommending anywhere from 50. And believe it or not, a lot of portrait studio people use a 70 to 200 in the studio. They make sure they got the room, but the scale is really, really good when you're shooting at, say, 135 millimeters. When you look at something, you're not going to have to worry about distortions or anything. So a lot of people like that focal length for studio work. For weddings, 50 millimeters, I think most people say that's the one. If they could carry only one, that would be the one they take. 100 millimeter macro, believe it or not that you want to shoot someone's eyeball, but you can get back, at 100 millimeters and have a really, really nice lens. And it's still at f2.8, so it's nice and efficient. So if you are in a dark room, you're not going to have to push your ISOs all that much. The 24 to 70
can be a great portrait lens.
Yeah, 100 millimeter macro is awesome for that kind of stuff. 24 to 70 is the money lens. Everybody has a 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200. So that's be the weddings. And then when you're getting into sports, anywhere from 16 to 35. And again, depending on what you're shooting. So if you're at the side of a hockey rink and you need a wide shot, that wide angle will come in handy. But if you're at the corner of the rink and you're trying to shoot everything, 24 or 70 to 200 is probably going to be your best friend in that case. And then macro finally. And macro, of course, is considered close up. So if you want to do flowers, if you want to do insects, that kind of stuff, those all come typically at f2.8 and at various focal lengths. So those, I'm just going to stop sharing here, Kate, just one sec. There we go, we're back. So those were the types of lenses that are out there. So then lies the question, what would be the best lenses to carry with me if I have to carry only 2 lenses? So now I have a different version of what that is than what Kate has. So Kate, you tell them first what you would use if you had to take 2 lenses.
Oh yeah. Well, I won't take up a lot of your time explaining your stuff because mine really is the 35. And then like you mentioned too, if I'd pick a second one, I would bring my 24 to 70 because especially when I'm out looking at abandoned houses, it's funny because I don't default to landscape, but if I know I'm going to be going to like an abandoned building, something like that, I know that my primes are not going to cut it. So here's an example of what that looks like when I bring so this is my 24 to 70. This is what this lens will do because this photo of this house couldn't have happened with a prime.
Okay.
So see what I mean? And it was able to get that, it was able to get the subject and that tree kind of framing it. And it did give, it distorted the tree a bit, which I like, to kind of give that fisheye look in the house. Excuse me. So I would have probably had that up to like, that'd be 24 millimeter zoom out probably.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, that's an example of that. And then the inside of the house, same lens to kind of capture the width of like,
Yeah.
the two,
Yeah.
the
You
two
want to
rooms and
get the
staircase. So
features of all the windows and all that stuff in the one
yes,
shot.
exactly.
Yeah. No, keep that up, Kate. So what do you notice about that photo? Besides, I mean, the lighting is awesome. The photo is great. Everything about that photo is really cool. I want to be in that room.
Oh, thanks.
But
Yep.
what are you looking at there that you're kind of saying, okay, if I could have, and I'm not sure I would want to because I like what I'm seeing, but if what are you seeing there that's a little out of place?
Out of place, like some like a physical thing in the photo.
No, the a characteristic of the lens.
Oh, like it's kind of bowed.
Exactly.
So you mean like the distortion a bit?
Yeah, like if you look at the door's kind of leaning out, leaning towards the left. The window, the big
Oh
window's
yeah, for
leaning
sure.
towards the right, right? And that's
Yeah.
all based on because the lens is so wide. But
Yes.
to be totally frank, when I saw this photo, I liked that because I like the whole idea of it's because you're in a different dimension in this. When you shoot these old houses, you're in a really
Yeah,
different dimension.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I like a little bit of distortion, just like the one that I showed you of the outdoor. It just kind of adds that bit of like kind of surrealness to the scene.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah, I
yeah, anyways,
agree.
so that's
I
just
agree.
an example of when I would bring out my Zoom. So, but it doesn't
So
normally go in my bag. I normally only bring a Zoom if I'm going to be indoor somewhere.
yeah, well, it gives you the flexibility, right? So now, if I need, I'll dig closer, I can do it, still standing in the same place. Or if I need to get further away, I can pull it back. So that makes a lot of sense.
So
But those shots,
yeah.
being angled like that, there's two ways to correct it. Number one, you can use a different focal length if you could get back further. If you couldn't, then it's a matter where you place the lens. Because if you put that lens down because you're standing up with the camera to your eye, I don't suppose you were leaning over. You're probably standing up straight, I'm guessing. But if you were actually kneeling down and then put that camera about the center of the room, then a lot of those distortions would have taken care of themselves, right?
Mm,
But having said that, if you want to correct it, you can just go into lens correction on your software and then bang, it straightens it all up anyway.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so
So
true.
I'm glad you didn't because I really like the the
It worked for that. It
woo.
worked for that. But like you would definitely want to correct it if you were doing like something professional or something that,
Yeah. If
it
I
fits with the abandoned house, but
Yeah, if I was doing architecture for somebody downtown, or if I was selling real estate, then I would get a tilt shift lens, which allows you to put the camera wherever you want, and because so you can move the lens itself on the front of the where it connects to the camera, you can actually straighten all that
yeah,
stuff out right in camera, just
yeah,
as you shoot
yeah.
it. So there's tools for everything, right? But there's another one like a tilt shift, right? Most people don't use it unless you are architectural or real estate.
Never use. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you?
So So me, I'll just bring mine out. So I
Nice.
typically bring a 24 to 70 f2.8. That's kind of my
Oh, the 2.8.
go-to.
Nice.
That's my go-to lens for my landscape for the most part because I have it with me. I sometimes because it's so small, I will bring a little 16 millimeter prime at f2.8. This one's f2, I think, and that's what I shoot Milky Ways with and all that stuff. I do have a
Oh,
14,
nice.
but it's like you said, it's a grenade, and this is just so simple to have in the bag, so it doesn't take any weight, right? So that would be my really
Great.
ultra wide. This would be my wide to portrait because I can go right up to 70 with it and still do. And I do the.
Mhm.
In fact, those earlier I was showing you a shoot that I just did, and this is what I used was the
That's
24 to 70,
beautiful.
and it works well. Now, if I'm
The
doing lands
2.8
or
makes that super nice.
You got to have the f2.8, yeah, because not only is it for light efficiency, but also for bokeh. You want that soft backgrounds and stuff. So, but when I'm using when I'm doing wildlife, or even sometimes outside, if I'm shooting events, I'll use this, and this is a 100 to 500. So
Mm.
it gets long because it's one of those ones when you, there we go, I'm trying to get it in the screen. It's one of those ones when you put it out there, it's, it's pretty darn long. So that looks backwards to me too. Just, well, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so that's what's in my bag. So I've got everything from 16 millimeters right up to 500, and I also carry a 2x extender for this. So if I want to get it up to, I don't know, close to 800 millimeters, I can. So that gives you all the
And
focal lengths you want
yeah.
within 3 lenses. So
Is that when you're posting the very detailed up close bird shots on the river,
yeah,
are you using that lens?
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's my, yeah. I don't use anything else for my wildlife. I always use that. Now you can get into trouble with that, and you do. So let's say you're on the river and you've been there. You know what it's like, and you're shooting a blue heron, right? So you're floating in the water, and then he's not moving so much, so you can get a little closer to him, and he's standing there, and you're going, okay, click, 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 click.
Yeah.
He's hitting the water. He's fishing. And then all of a sudden he decides he's going to fly away. Well, that little skinny bird becomes enormous. So if you're not quick
Oh,
enough to
yeah.
pull that zoom back, you're cutting wings off, you're cutting feet off because
Yeah.
he's too big to fit in the whole thing. So
Yes.
that's when you got to be really good with your with your ability to zoom and understand and that's what
Yes.
that's what will come over time. When you shoot enough wildlife, you can start to see that, okay, this he's going to fly. So then you automatically start pulling it back, and then you can get ready for him because you don't want to miss the in-flight shots. That's what you're after, really.
It really is like hunting.
It is. It is. It
Yeah.
is.
It's more of
It's so
a
true.
shoot to thrill, not a shoot to kill.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So those are some of the things we carry with us, and the reasons why we do. So, and I know it's such a huge topic, such a huge topic. You can get into all kinds of lenses, the whys, the why nots, the F values, all that stuff. That's more of a technical thing. But just for focal length, that's kind of what we're talking about. How much can you get in your photo, and when I bring you, what are my expectations of by using these lenses. But yeah, we can get into that down the road. We'll talk other stuff when we do just products talks, and we'll get into that. But yeah, so that's what we kind of carry with us. So
Yeah. How much time we got?
we got about 2 minutes.
I'll save it for another episode.
Okay. All right. Let me just put up. There we go. So snapshots and stories outlook.com. If you have some lenses or are thinking about changing to different lenses, if you have a crop sensor and a full frame sensor, there are lenses that are for both. There's all kinds of stuff to talk about. Send us an idea what you would like us to talk about when it comes to that kind of stuff, and we would be happy to do it. So snapshots and stories at outlook.com. Kate, what do you want to add?
It would be great to have episodes based on some questions people have. Like what are you thinking? What are your questions? Tell us what you want to hear about. I'd love to hear more about what the questions people have.
Yeah, I agree.
So don't be shy.
Yeah.
There's no bad questions, no stupid questions.
Yeah.
It can be anonymous, or you don't have to say your name, but it would be great to have some ideas of what our listeners are thinking and what they want to know more about.
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
they teach us something. They can definitely teach us something.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And at the same time, if you have photos that you've taken and you think they're too far away or they're too close up or whatever, send them in to us. Let us know what you shot them with and what your focal length you used. And, it'd be interesting to say, okay, you know what? Based on what you just showed us, your lens is capable of doing X, or that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so send some photos in too. All right. So we are at the end of this one. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. You can watch this on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Rogers TV. And with Facebook and YouTube, you can make comments and leave comments. Please do. And of course, use our snapshots and stories at outlook.com to send us in messages and be interactive. And let's get some talk, some speak going, and whatnot. And other than that, we will see you on the next episode. So for Paul and for Kate, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you
Later.
next time.